Hello and welcome back to the Kerbal Space program. My name is WW Deadman, but you already know that. Now, since we decided plant a flag on Eve is not happening, we're gonna take the penalty for that and see what we get instead. Orbital station around Minmus, solar station. Temperature scans, plant a flag. When do these expire? 5 hours, 5 days. 5 hours, 3 days. 1 day, 5 hours. Okay, in 5 hours we're gonna look in here again. So, since a day has 6 hours. Those are still there. Another day, please. Okay. New orbital station around Minmus, no. New orbital station around the Sun, no. Plant a flag on Gilly, no. Rescue Liz G. Kerman from orbit of Kerbin, no. Test the Sepatron, landed on Kerbin. That's free. Position satellite in polar orbit of Minmus. Position the satellite in a specific orbit of Kerbin. Test the Mark 16 parachute on Duna. Build a new surface outpost on Bob and perform grammatic scans on Bob. No. However, since the Sepatron contract is literally free, we're doing that. Thing is, I just really don't wanna waste 56 days, 65 days of doing nothing until we have a next correction burn, and then another 113 days, or 67 days. That's all way too long to just waste, in my opinion. Take something like that, take a Sepatron, stick it on, get the solid fuel out of there, and launch. Done. And yeah, that's the cancelled contract. That cost me 1 reputation and 109,000, but that was totally fine. Because I don't want to land a no-return mission on frickin' Eve. Especially since we saw that the science rover that we wanted to send down totally isn't just made for re-entry. Yeah. Bob, Duna, Kerbin, polar orbit of Minmus. Satellite in a specific orbit. Plant a flag on Gilly. Solar, Minmus. What the hell? What's the new one of those? I don't see a new... Oh, there's 2 specific orbits on Kerbin. Okay. Quite honestly, not even slightly. Next month, please. 54 minutes still. Really. Visual service of Gilly. Or from Bob and delivered to Jewel? No. No, there's stuck in orbit. Another one stuck in an orbit. Ferry 2 tourists safely to their destination and back. Where do you want to go? Gilly and Eve? Yeah, sure. Land on Eve! Oh, so you want to stay there? Is it that? You want to live on Eve from now on? How is that only 2 stars? You want me to land a Kerbal on Eve and bring it back? That's one of the hardest things you can do in this game. That's literally up there with manned missions to Moho. Which just requires a whole lot of Delta V to get there and back. That's on par with, I don't know, getting into Joule's atmosphere and back out. I don't know, landing on Tylo. Landing on Tylo and starting from Eve. Those are probably the 2 hardest things you can do in this game. And you want me to do one of these, and you're not giving me enough stuff here to do it. Like, extract ore from Bob and deliver it to Joule and perform visual service of Gilly are higher ranked? Really? Like, this is easy. This is easy. Like, how the hell do you put this on the same thing as rescuing a Kerbal? Yeah, contract system. Not nice. We're just gonna fast forward another day. I really want to have something to do. 6 tourists safely to the okay, where do you want to go? That sounds actually good. 6 tourists is something that's actually like, you know, you want to do something like that on, like, give me a grand tour here. We want to go into orbit of Minmus, a space flight on Duna. So that's Minmus and Duna. That's Gilly, so Eve, Moon orbit, fly by Joule, orbit around Kerbin, atmospheric flight on Duna. You're a little bit stupid, aren't you? Suborbital space flight on Eve. Orbit around Gilly, land on Gilly, land on Ike. Suborbital spaceflight on Joule. Oh, hi. Suborbital on Moon. Atmospheric flight on Duna. Suborbital Kerbin, land on Duna, fly by Joule. Orbit Moon, fly by Eve, and orbit Eve. I like that they want flybys and orbits in the same, on the same dude. Anyway, all of these are easily doable. So we've got Eve, orbit, atmospheric flight, suborbital, which is totally doable with atmospheric flight. We've got Duna, we've got Moon, we've got Minmus. Okay, so we'd fly. So that's 6 tourists. If we just go ahead and make a dockable lander that can land on Ike, stick that in front of a mothership that can go around the whole solar system. And a crew cabin that can hold 6 people. Everything's remote controlled. The hardest parts are landing on Duna. Okay, we need to be able to land on Duna. Which means that same lander can easily do Ike and Gilly before going to Duna. Atmospheric flight on Duna is therefore totally doable because we're gonna land on Duna, just make that have enough people. Who was the atmospheric flight on Duna? There, one. Okay, that's just one. So a two-man lander for Duna that can also land on Ike, that can also land on Gilly. We only want one lander on Ike and one lander on Gilly, but that's totally fine. We'll have a pilot go with him. This is a Grand Tour contract that I really want to do. I'm gonna accept this. The hardest part's probably gonna be the atmospheric flight on Eve. Because what counts as atmospheric flight? Would aero capturing count as atmospheric flight? Or would we need to be suborbital inside the atmosphere? We're gonna see about that. Or, no. Rescue Althea Kerman from Gilly, no. Two tourists that wanna go to land on Eve, yeah, you wanna stay there, that was that. That's a free booster test. Orbit of Kerbin, solar orbit around Minmus. Okay. Now, we need 550 at least to get one of these. But do we want one of these? No. No. Actually, kinda yes, cause that would make a very good mothership. Or we could just buy more of that. Or wait and get fuel cells and that stuff. Anything here that we want to unlock? No. That's something I want to unlock. Yeah, that's definitely not. Yeah. I kind of want these though. So we need 20 more science. That should be doable. Cause I kinda wanna have a big launcher to get the stuff in orbit. Let's see. First of all, let's do the free booster test. And we'll do the Kerbal thing here. And since we need a two-man lander anyway for the thing, I'm gonna buy this, put the booster on top here. Back, yep. Drain the solid fuel. And actually cancel launch. that was your New Year's like firework. Thank me later. Okay. So, did that give us any science, by the way? Or do I need to look at my Eve stuff? Yeah, I need to look at my Eve stuff for that. Because I kind of do want to nodes, which one of which is the one with the bigger like plane parts, the shuttle parts more or less, which would make a perfect center stack for the mothership for that big tour. Holy crap. That's the return ship. I'm just gonna go ahead and rename some stuff here. Return ship. Hovercraft. You're a satellite now. Oh, our Moon 2.0, the C-class asteroid. So yeah, where was that? Cyrover Mark II is landed. Cyrover Mark I, fly that. Let's see how much science you have to send home. Uh, 100 science. Good. Transmit. Just make sure you can't run out. Unfortunately, this is not gonna go any faster if I time accelerate. So we're just gonna sit here and wait this out for a bit. So how are you doing, Bob, Kernan, and Scott? Hope you're fine. Okay, that's done. Where's my science? 147 science. Good. Space Center. We could literally just have them research the rest of the nodes for us. Okay. Hey, Shadow Glitch. So I want the big lift up parts. Good. Yeah, the big tank probably not happening right now. We can just use the big tanks here. The other thing I wanted was this because of the big cargo bay. Where we could store the lander. However, don't know whether the lander's gonna actually fit there. I mean, this time the landers don't. The one lander does not actually need anything but enough fuel to get back off of Duna. So Let's have a look at this. This might be a little bit long in designing, but you know, that's like the last thing we're probably gonna do in this save. So we're gonna finish off these missions, and we're going to get the one big tour done. Once 1.1 is out, we're gonna switch to that. That's how I see that. Okay, get the alarm clock out of my face, get the contract up. Where's that? Tourists. Okay, an orbit around Minmus. That's all we need around Minmus, right? I think I'm just gonna write that down manually outside the game, because I just wanna have all bodies and not every one of the Kerbals listed. And I can't list this by body. So Minmus, we want an orbit. Duna. We want a suborbital spaceflight. Which is actually pretty easy, because that's just lower your periapsis until it's suborbital. We need Gilly. That's a suborbital spaceflight. And we need Mun. With an orbit. Okay, that's the first guy. Second guy, Flyby Jewel. Okay. We need Jewel with a flyby. We need Kerbin with an orbit. Well, that is pretty easy. That's done when we start. We've got atmospheric flight on Duna. Atmo flight. We've got a suborbital space flight on Eve. And that's that. Next guy, orbit around Gilly. Land on Gilly. And land on Ike. We've got a suborbital spaceflight of Jewel. Wow. As long as it's not atmospheric, I'm fine with that. Suborbital spaceflight of the Moon. And an atmospheric flight on Duna. That's ×2. We've got the suborbital space flight on Kerbin. That's done with just starting. We've got landing on Duna. And flyby Jewel, the the second. And we've got, and that's the last bit, an orbit around the moon. So that's the second orbit moon. Flyby of Eve. And an orbit around Eve. Okay. So, let's look at this. We've got... is that the same guy? Atmospheric flight, and land. So we've got a 3-man lander for Duna. Okay. So we've got a 3-man lander. That is essentially what we took there to rescue the people. So if we just use that and give it a big fucking propulsion unit under it. So we can get from orbit of Kerbin with all 6 Kerbals in a, I don't know, hitchhiker container additionally to the thing. Should be fine. We get that over to Eve. Or first of all, we get that to the moon, get into an suborbital spaceflight and into an orbit. So essentially we go into a crash collision course with the moon. Go from that to an orbit around the moon, transfer from the moon to Minmus, go into an orbit around Minmus, transfer into a eccentric orbit around Kerbin, eject towards Eve, get a suborbital flight on Eve, which is get the collision course, and then go into a orbit, which also contains the flyby. From there we go and land on Gilly, which includes the suborbital spaceflight and the orbit. And from Gilly back to Eve. From Eve we can transfer out to Duna, get into an orbit, get the suborbital spaceflight by getting a crash trajectory, land on Ike, then land on Duna, and then transfer to Jewel, get a crash trajectory with Jewel, fly by Jewel, come back to Kerbin, land, and we're done. Now this is the mission profile. And we're going to build a thing that can actually do that in the next episode. Till then, like and favorite if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and until next time, I'm WWE Dadman. Bye.